Okay, all right, everybody. So hopefully at this point you have successfully installed both the Java Development Kit and the BlueJ program. So now we're ready to get started. So we're going to do our first set of programming exercises. So I'm going to be working in BlueJ, but like I said in the course syllabus, you are free to try a different development environment if you have some experience and you want to try something different. But the default for our class will be BlueJ. Okay, so I'm going to be working on a Windows computer, but Mac is pretty much parallel. So we start by launching the program. Then you're going to get just a blank screen like this. Now we're going to organize our programs into projects. So each individual assignment you'll put into a different project. So the first thing you're going to want to do is create a new project. So up on the drop-down menu here under Project, New Project. Then you'll get a dialog that looks like this. Okay, now you can name your project whatever you want. I'm going to name mine Hello World Project. Okay, now you're also going to make sure you remember where you save it because you're going to have to turn in some of the files for your assignment at the end. So you can change where you save it, navigate to a directory that you're going to remember. So remember where you save it, and then click OK. So then you'll get a screen that looks like this. Not much different, at least initially, from the screen that we just saw. You're going to see one in this area here. You're going to see one file that looks like this icon right here. Now if you double click on that, that'll bring up the editor. So any of the icons in this section here are files. And if you just double click on them, it'll open them up in an editor. Now this file right here is called a README file. And this is something that you're going to have in every project. And you're going to put just some basic information. It's kind of like lab notes. So you just kind of note down things that you learned, things that you tried. Just like keeping a lab notebook if you were doing a lab class. So I want you to fill this out for every project that you do, and in certain cases I may ask you to turn it in just to take a look at what's going on with it. Okay, so that's the README file. It's created automatically for you every time you create a new project. So Java programs are organized into smaller units called classes, and we'll learn a little bit more about that as the course goes on. But for our initial programs in the start, we're just going to have just one class. Okay, just one program and one class. So in order to start your program, you're going to have to create a new class. So go up here again to the project menu, or you could go here, new class, this button right here. This is probably an easier way to do it. Click on new class. This will bring up a dialog like this, a dialog box like this. So we're going to create our class to hold our program. So first we'll pick a name for it. Now, when you name a class, you have to not use spaces. So you can't use spaces in a class name. So it all has to be just one single word with no spaces stuck together. It's customary in Java to name our classes using what's called camel case, and we'll get into this a little bit later when we talk about style. So I'm going to name my class Hello World. Okay, notice how I did that. Notice how I used no spaces, so it's all just one word stuck together. And notice how the first letter of each of the two separate words is capitalized. Hello, capital H, world, capital W. And that's called camel case. And that's kind of the traditional customary way that Java programmers have of naming their classes. Okay, but remember the major rule though is you cannot have any spaces in your class name. Okay, so you got to use all single words. Leave this as it is, checked for Java, and leave that as it is, checked for class. And then we check OK. Click OK. Okay, now you'll notice that in this middle area here, there's a new file called Hello World. Okay, that's our class file. So if we double click on it, that opens up in Editor. You can see it right here. There's a lot of stuff already there. So the program tries to put these templates in so that you can kind of just fill stuff in. Now we're going to be deleting a lot of that stuff, so don't worry about that stuff for now. Notice also it's trying to give you some visual clues. So notice how in this icon here that represents the class that we just made, notice it's got these kind of diagonal lines going across it. Okay, now that's significant. It tries to give you, like I said, some visual clues as to the state of your different files in your program. Okay, whether they're ready to run, whether they're empty and things like that. So don't worry about that too much right now. We'll get back to that in a little while. But for now, just understand that those symbols, that cross-hatching there, that's kind of significant. Okay, so now we've created a new project, and then within that project we are creating a new class. And in that class we'll eventually put our first program.